14, whatever it is.
Is the only one that's come on the budget.
Yes. It's good, man. They grew up down the street.
Given by Mr. Kinnemer and the pledge led by Mr. Gary Stewart.
Almighty God, we give you thanks and praise for your great goodness towards us. We ask you to be with the mayor and council this evening as they go about the public business, lead, guide, and direct them in all that they do. Be with the city employees as they go about their duties this next week. Keep them safe from harm. These things we ask in Jesus Christ's name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First on the work session this evening is to announce the resignation of Ms. Jessica Butler from the Scottsboro City Council. As most of you know, that we received a letter from Ms. Butler last week indicating her intention to vacate her seat of City Council. I immediately contacted the League of Municipalities. I inquired, since the timing we're upon a open election, I inquired the process if we could put that on open ballot. That is not something that's allowed for with the current state law of the state of Alabama. Mr. Kimber can probably quote the Alabama state statute.
Yes. You have two statutes that deal with temporary vacancies in the offices of mayor and council. One is 11-44B8, which is a general statute. Then more importantly is 11-44G-1, which has to do with category 7 and 8 municipalities. Scottsboro is a category or class 7 municipality. The categories are based on population, but unfortunately it's based on population in 1970. The legislature, in its infinite wisdom, updated that. But it states in the code that if there is a vacancy, the council has 60 days to fill the vacancy. If the council does not fill the vacancy, then the governor has 90 days to fill the vacancy, with the governor having the right to get nominations from members of the council. Though the governor's not bound by any one of those nominations. Technically, if the council could not fill the vacancy and the governor did not fill the vacancy, a special election would then be held. That would be sometime months away. This has come up before in the city of Scottsboro, and the council is able to fill the vacancy. It will take 3 out of 4 votes of the remaining council to fill the vacancy. The clerk will take applications from interested citizens. They must be received by her by June 18th, 2018 at 4:30.
It's easy to remember, that's my birthday. Any discussion, Mr. Smith, Mr. Stewart?
No.
I haven't.
So those that would be interested in the position can submit a letter of interest by June 18th, 2018 at 4:30 p.m. Thank you. Next is discuss Veterans Memorial Park maintenance. I had the opportunity in the last couple of weeks to speak with some of the veterans that are putting together the Memorial Park. They had indicated that they had the understanding that once the park is completed, that they would like to see, I think we've had conversations about the city taking some responsibility for the mowing and maintenance of that park. They pointed out that they would like to see, since it's the Jackson County Veterans Memorial Park, for that to be a partnership between the city and the county. They would just like to see something in writing from us. I've talked to Mr. Ashburn about this. I think we've kind of been, at this point, we've been mowing it some, they've been mowing it some. I think we need to speak with them and have a plan in place for when the park is completed, and then what the process will be
Right.
as far as maintenance of that.
And I did
park.
told them, for the record, it would be nice if we just had a letter requesting it, you know, they wanted somebody to take care of it and not themselves too. So I'll follow up.
Okay. Well, like I said, I spoke with Mr. Ashman about it, and he seemed more than willing to speak with the county commission about entering into a partnership that both parties take some responsibility for that. So hopefully they'll talk about that on a work session, and we'll be able to come to some type of agreement.
Sure.
Mr. Smith, Mr. Stewart, you have anything?
I would like, if we're going to do that, I would like to see us and the county sign the paperwork jointly at the same time. Because I do think they need to help us with it, sometimes. They aren't able to do things, you know. I'd like to know if they are able before we take it on.
Well, and they've been, my understanding is they've been sending a crew out there currently. Mr. Ashman told me that they sent one out a few weeks ago, and we beat them to it, right? So I think there needs to be some coordination there.
I agree. I want Mr. Smith to get his documentation that way as we move down the road.
So, Mr. Mayor, can you speak with the chairman and see what we can work out
Be glad
with
to.
them then?
Yeah.
Any other questions or discussion? Next is discuss conveyor belt at the solid waste department. And I will go back and say that there's 2 additions to our work session. 5 is classification change for staff account, and 6 is organizational change for fire department. I apologize for passing over that. But number 3 is discuss conveyor belt at the solid waste department. I believe Mr. Smith had brought up that the conveyor at solid waste was in disrepair, and may need to be looked at being replaced. Mr. Mayor, can you tell us about your findings?
They have gotten it pieced back together, but it's as you know, it's been patched. It is running, but we do need to go ahead. It's a 6 to 8 week lead time on getting the belt itself. So you've got a quote here, and then the installation, once this is approved and once it arrives, it would be a 2-man and approximately $7,500 labor charge to install it. It's about a 3 to 4 day process to install the conveyor belt.
Am I to understand that this is not the entire mechanism,
No.
this is just the
This is the
belt
belt
itself?
itself, yeah. Pretty old piece of equipment.
It's my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Mayor, but it cost us a total of $50,720. That's for the conveyor belt, labor, everything, back, renting. If you understand.
They had estimated, I think the labor's $150 for the first man and $100 an hour for the second man, and they estimated 30 hours labor time.
But I'm talking including the belt and the crane and everything. Do you have a total?
No, not for the crane.
I mean for everything.
No, sir.
And I understand it's $50,720 total.
Can you get us a firm number on the total cost of this installation?
Sure.
Mr. Mayor?
Okay.
Any other questions or discussion? you'll see if you can get us something
Sure.
on that. I'll talk to Whitney this week.
Okay.
Number 4 is discuss budget amendment for Goose Pond grant and permitting. Mr. Mayor, can you tell us a little bit about this also?
This, if you'll remember, we did, y'all did 2 resolutions supporting the 2 different grant applications for the walking trail and the boat ramp expansion at Goose Pond. This is, when Rick and I was talking about it, we did not at the time do any budget amendment or set aside any funds for the grant application process and some of the permitting that's required. And so what we're asking for is $15,000 to be set aside for those fees. We should be knowing more about the grant status later this month. We've been getting some very favorable feedback on that.
So is this for the marina expansion or is this for the walking trail?
No, this is for the boat ramp,
That's what I
but
thought.
there's a walking trail that comes to it. There's 2 different grants out there.
Questions or discussion?
Can we vote on this once we get the grant?
My understanding, this is work that's to be done in order to apply
Part
for the
of
grant.
it, yeah, part of it's the permitting fees that are required by TVA and the process for filing those.
So we have to do this in order to apply.
Well, we've already applied, but we've still got, part of the process, we've got, now they're requesting the permits as part of that process.
Do we know how much that permit is?
Well, the 2 permits, and Goose Pond thinks they've estimated high, the TVA and the Corps of Engineer permits total 10,000, which we're splitting with Goose Pond Colony, so that's 5,000 apiece. And then there's engineering fees associated with it, which we're splitting it as well.
You know how much we're splitting there?
Yes, sir. It's here. It's $14,762.10.
That's the total, right?
Yes. So we asked for 15.
And not to exceed the 15,000.
Yes, sir.
We'll put that on next week. Next is discuss classification change for staff accountant. I believe there's a proposal that we shift one of the positions from a pay range of 14 to, Mr. Mayor, is it range of 20?
Yes, sir. Going from a step or range 14 to range 20 for the staff accountant for this current fiscal year, which would be a budget amendment of accounting benefits and everything of $1,412.
Anyone have any questions or discussion about that? We'll put that on next week's council meeting. And next is organizational change for the fire department. Chief, I believe Mr. Chuck Bryant has announced his retirement, which Chuck's been serving recently as a fire marshal, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, sir, that's correct. So he's retiring effective July 1 with RSA. So my request to the council is that we have emailed to each of you independently on some of this information or spoke to me, is that we reclassify that position in the organizational structure and make it a deputy chief position, which would take an approval of a new organizational chart and an approval of job description. Expanding those duties, what was previously the fire marshal, to include administrative duties also, and provide some continuity throughout our structure.
So this would give you a clear second in command that would absorb the duties of the fire marshal, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, sir, that's right.
Questions, comments?
How long has it been since you had someone in that position?
Our department has, in the year 2000, I believe, Assistant Chief Potter moved from fire marshal to assistant chief on a 2-year basis until he was appointed fire chief, and then he chose not to refill that position at that time, for whatever reason.
Best I can recall, and maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, but the police department has never had a lack of second in command. You recall? So we've always, a lot of, that would be a problem in my.
Thank you. We'll put that on next week, Mr. Chairman. I'll be here. Moving to delegations, there are none. We'll move to reports, Mr. Mayor.
The only thing I have is a request that you keep Connie Garner in your prayers. You know, she's had some complications after her back surgery, and great need of prayers. She's a 37-year employee, 38-year employee. Greatly missed.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Gary Stewart?
I don't have anything to.
Mr. Smith?
Well, for all of you who are here, because everybody else won't hear it in time, but hope everybody votes tomorrow. Whoever you're for, voting is one of the most important things we do, and so many of us don't. We hope everybody votes correctly.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Just a couple of things. First of all, I'd like to extend a gratitude to Ms. Butler for her service to this council and this community, and we wish her well on her future endeavors. Also, Mr. Larry Duncan, which was director of our 911 center, and I believe it's been the director since its inception, if I'm not mistaken. He passed away this week, and our thoughts and prayers go out to his family. And I have intentionally not brought up the election during the council meeting, but I will take my 2 minutes to ask you to vote tomorrow, and hopefully you will see fit to support me in my bid for circuit clerk. I will continue to serve this council and this city through November of this year. It's been my immense pleasure and will continue to be to serve our community. And I hope that you will in turn support me in this bid. So with that, we'll stand adjourned until next week.